Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 59 until I become a YouTube millionaire. I'm glad to have you all here with me on this journey. And becoming a millionaire is just, through YouTube is just kind of to grab your attention. We'll see if it actually ends up happening. I'm not stressed about it. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my thought processes with respect to my novel series. Now, I'm in a rather dense portion of it right now. I'm about 40% through, 50% through how much I'm eventually going to end up writing. So I'm about 500,000 words or so into what's going to be about 1 million words. And like I said, because there's nothing new under the sun, and you simply cannot say and do everything necessary to get all of the stories and truths out there to the people, when it comes down to it, you have to make the limit of how much you're going to write. And then people outside of that tell you, oh, I want to learn about this, or oh, I want to learn about that, or oh, I want to learn about this thingy. And you add that to the story. And that can expand it beyond whatever your personal prescribed limit is. 1 million words, what I'm shooting for. But the part that I'm in right now is particularly dense and particularly difficult to understand, and for good purpose. So, all of what you have seen in pop culture about time travel has come with limits attached. If you watch the series Back to the Future, they are operating within the realm of it being a singular timeline, right? So whether you go forward in time or backwards in time, it's the same line of time. So if you do something in the past that is going to inexorably affect the future from that point, from whatever it ended up being when you were living there at that point in the future, it's going to change everything, right? And that future that you were from no longer exists. So, Back to the Future operates within that limitation, that there are no parallel realities, you're operating within the same line of time. And then you have a show like Doctor Who, which actually does delve into the potentiality of parallel realities or alternate timelines. But then they get to this idea, this sticking point called the fixed point in time, where something that happened cannot be changed because it is a fixed point. What exactly a fixed point is, they don't necessarily elaborate upon very much, but that's what they call it. Now, from my perspective, a fixed point in time is where a humongous number of perceptions, free wills, observers, are affected by that specific event, and each one of them has a say, subconsciously or consciously, as to whether that event will be changed. So, it's very difficult to change that fixed point in time. But not, in my perspective, impossible. Not impossible. So, what I'm showing in my novel series, the hypothetical that I'm working with, is that there actually are no limitations to what you can do if you can travel through time. There are no paradoxes. There's nothing that is impossible. So you can go back in time, change something like off Hitler, for example, right? And in that timeline, World War II doesn't happen. But it's a separate timeline from the one you originally came from, where Germany did go to war and lots of people died and all that stuff. However, what you might find, because it's such a massive undertaking to try to figure out the best way to navigate the seas of infinite timelines and realities, you may find that the consequences of stopping that event are actually worse than allowing it to happen. This gets to the whole idea of the train, and you have 5 people on one side and 1 person on the other. The 1 person on the other side is, let's say, Jesus, for example. Or no, Jesus willingly let himself pass on. So let's say, I don't know, baby Buddha, right? So, yeah, baby Buddha, I don't know, I'll just say that. And then the other guy, just 5 random people that don't really have any importance, quote unquote, in the path of reality. So, you get to choose which train, or which track the train goes down. How do you make that choice? Okay, you got Buddha right here, and then you got 5 average people on the other side. Yeah, 5 people are going to pass away on that side, and all that stuff. But Buddha, just saying as an example, is a very important figure, and you don't want him to have to pass on, even though he comes back, right? Over and over and over. So, while you might be able to go back in time, off Hitler, you'll find that the lessons that we gleaned from the global catastrophic event that was World War II were not learned. And because of that, we developed nuclear weapons, and we've never used them before, because we were still going to develop nuclear weapons one way or another. The technology was already on the horizon, all that stuff. So let's say you don't go to World War II, and then 1960 comes around and you have megaton nuclear warheads that you haven't used yet on other people. The precedent has not been set. You don't know what's going to happen. Guess what? Mutually assured destruction actually does happen, and you're left with a handful of people alive. And you're left with an alternate reality where human beings change their tune to the point of de-emphasizing their physical form and overemphasizing their intelligence because of how disgusted they were with what they did in the past. And those future humans, which are descendants of the previous crop, if you will, of us, have disdain towards humanity because we didn't learn the lessons that we needed to learn. Blah, blah, blah. You get my point. So what I'm doing with my novel series, and it's getting extremely complex, and that's intentional, is I'm showing what possibly could happen if there truly are no limitations on time travel. Because in fourth dimensional thinking, that's traveling forward and backward in time. In fifth dimensional thinking, that's traveling to parallel realities through time, right? And then so on and so forth. Yeah. A truly good story writer, just like Robert Heinlein, has to be able to entertain hypotheticals even if they don't necessarily believe them. Now, in my case, I actually do, 1, believe time travel is real, and we have it now. We're just not showing it to one another because there's some critical lessons we need to get before before we're given the time travel mechanism. Because when we're given that, time is going to be irrelevant. It's going to cease to exist. We will continue, but time will cease to exist. So 1 must be able to entertain hypotheticals. And I forgot where I was going with that. You know what? I'll go ahead and leave it there. But that's where I'm going with my story series. It's a big old hypothetical experiment. I can't say everything because that's infinity. And I don't know infinity. I know it exists, but I don't know the depth of it. So there you go. Anyway, love y'all. Peace.